Okay, we're up to Zion Amid Aleph. It's a classic Gemara with a lot of classic Kitzushtel's about Torah. Very, very famous. I got it. They're very well known. So we're up to the second line from the top, Zion Amid Aleph. Amar Rabbi Vohu, Gadol Yoim HaGeshamim Mitchias HaMesim. Greater is the day of rain than Tchias HaMesim. Dilu Tchias HaMesim L'Tzadikim. Tchias HaMesim is for Tzadikim. Dilu Geshamim Bein L'Tzadikim Bein L'Rishayim. Geshamim not only helps the Tzadikim, helps the Rishayim as well. It's a little schwer. I don't understand who cares about but why is it greater? Because it helps the Rishayim. But the bottom line is, I guess the aspect of it is greater because it's 200 versus 100. It has the aspect of what of helping tzaddikim and something else. Upliga the Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Vohu says it's greater than, argues on Rabbi Yosef who says it's equal to. Dam Rabbi Yosef mitoich shahaya shekula ketrias hamesim. Since the rain is equal to trias hamesim, kavua betrias hamesim. With kaveya the shvach of Mashiv Aruach Hamarda Geshem in the bracha of Mechayim Mesim, the second bracha of Shmona Esrei. So we see that now. Obviously, the parallel, the Ritva says the parallel between rain and Tchias HaMesim is that we know rain goes ahead and falls on the ground and causes the crops to grow. So to Be'ez Hashem, Tchias HaMesim is not just going to come up. It's after the tal of Tchias HaMesim. After the tal of Tchias HaMesim comes down, it will cause the dead to arise. Amrav Yehuda, Gadol Yoim HaGeshamim. So we have a comparison to Tchias HaMesim, and now we have a comparison of Geshamim to the day that Torah was given. We're comparing it to the day that Torah was given. Shneimar, Yerav Kamata Likhi. It says that my teachings will drip down like the rain. Yerav Kamata Likhi, my teachings, they'll drip down like the rain. Ve'en lakach el Torah, Shneimar ki lakach toiv nasati lechem, Torasi al tazovu. So you see that lekach is Torah. So Yerav Kamata Likhi, that my teachings of Torah, they will drip down like the rain. This is of course from Parshas Hazinu. Rava Amar Yoisa Miyam Shnina B'Torah. The day of Geshamim is even greater than Man Torah. So it's unbelievable. We have Ravo saying it's greater than the Tchias HaMesim, and we have Rava saying the days of rain are even greater than what? Than the day of Torah. Shneimar Yarov Kamata Likhi. My Torah, my teachings are like what? Are like drippings of rain. Now, when you're comparing one thing to the other, you're comparing the lower thing to the higher thing. Me nitla b'mi. Why are we going ahead and making what contingent upon the other? Cotton nitla b'gadol. Cotton. In this case, the likhi, the Torah, is nitla b'gadol, is being contingent upon the gadol, is the tal, is kimrasi. So you see that that the day of rain is even greater than Torah. Rava is stira ksiv. It says yerav kamat the likhi. We see that the teachings of Torah is compared to what? To Mata, to rain. Tizal katal imrasi, the imre my rasi, the words of Hashem are compared to tal. Now, of course, rain comes with much stronger force than tal. So what is it? Is it the more gentle tal or the more destructive power of rain? So, and for the Gemara, in Talmud Chacham Hagen who, if it's a Talmud Chacham that's proper, then kital, then it's gentle like rain, like dew. Lav, but if he's not chagon, if he's not a proper person, and we'll see in a second who that is, then arpeu kimata, it will break him like rain breaks, like the strength of rain that breaks. Tanya beno oimer kol oisik b'Torah lishma. Anyone who's oisik in Torah for the right sake, that's of course is the MS. Anyone who's oisik in Torah lishma, then Torah senasel samachayim. His Torah becomes an elixir of life. Shneimar eitz chayim hila machasikim ba. Torah is an eitz chayim to those who machzik in it. V'oimar, it says refoyes tehila sharecha. Refoyes is the lashon of a navel, a lashon of refuah. Tehila sharecha. It'll be a cure for coming through your belly button. So refoyes is the lashon of cure. So you see that it's a cure. V'oimar ki matzasi matzachayim. So you see, any finds Torah, finds chayim, finds elixir of life, finds cures. However, v'chaleisik b'Torah shaloi lishma. Anyone who's Isaac and Torah Shaloi Lishma, Nasis Le Sam Hamavis, then it becomes what? The opposite. It becomes a poisonous what? Agent of death. Shnemar, Yerav Kamata Lichi, Ben Arifa Ela Hariga. Arifa is the lashon of what? Of killing. Shnemar, it says by the Egla Arufa, the Arfu Sham as a Egla Benachal, you should decapitate the Egla Benachal. So a very famous question. It says over here, anyone who's oisik Torah l'shma, is that what? It's a samamaves. But we also know that mitoich shaloi lishma ba lishma. So it's a very famous question that Taisus asks in a few places. Let's see the Taisus over here. Top Taisus. Chaloisib b'Torah shaloi lishma terasa nasli samamaves. The kasha lo yamina and gemara pesachim lo ilam yasik adam b'Torah v'mitzvus. The shaloi af agav sheina lishma shemitoich shaloi lishma ba lishma. V'yesh laima and for Taisus. The trei shaloi lishma have it. There's two types of shaloi lishma. The masha amina lo'olam yasik b'Torah afilu shaloi lishma hainu kloimar kidei sheyikra Rabbi. You're doing it for the purpose of what being called Rabbi. Or kidei sheyichabduhu. Or you're doing it what for the purpose what of yichabduhu. Or bisman hazeh, you're doing it for the purpose of shiduchim, right? They're going to right yeshiva, being in the right place. That's shaloi lishma. That's okay. Mitoy shaloi lishma v'lishma. However, masha mina nchacha that we're saying over here in Titus Daf Zayin that kol oisik b'Torah shaloi lishma nashlo samamaves hainu mi sheloi made lekanter. He's learning for the whole purpose of what? Of being, to argue and to find flaws and to be discriminatory. I would guess that very good sushtel is where you have throughout history, we've had people looking at the Torah and using it as a means of saying anti-Semitic things. Think about the Baelish trial, right? Adam, we're called Adam and they're not called Adam, right? It bothered them very much. That Jews are called Adam, they're not. So the Goyim go ahead and take it. And Lekanter, and if a person goes ahead and learns Torah for the purpose of putting down Talmidei Chachamim and going ahead and be and disruptive and arguing with Talmidei Chachamim, that's the one that's going to be a Sam Hamavis. That Torah will be a Sam Hamavis to him versus the person who's doing it Shaloi Lishma for ulterior motives, which are very, very common for kavod, for being called Rabbi, against also for a form of kavod. He's doing it for that. Then Mimela, the Torah can take hold of you and help you. Mashenkin, if your initial Torah is for disruptive reasons and counter to argue, then the Torah will be a Sam Hamaves. That's I think Taisa says that in Shabbos also. Says the Gemara Vaita. Amalei Rav Yirmiyah Rav Zera, Leisi Mar Lisni. So Rav Yirmiyah said to Rav Zera, come say something, come teach us something. Amalei Chalish Libo, he says Rav Zera, no, I can't. I'm too tired to go ahead and share with you a Devar Halacha and get involved in the pilpul of Halacha. Well, Yechilna. So said Rav Yirmiyah to Rav Zera, then Lema Mar Milsa Dagadata. Say a Milsa Dagadata, right? So everyone always has time for a Milsa Dagadata. So for that, Rav Yirmiyah, that Rav Zera had time for. So Amalei Hachi Amar Rav Yochanan. My dichsiv ki Adam eitz hasadeh. It says that Adam is the tree of the field. Adam eitz sadeh. Who is Adam? In fact, eitz sadeh. Ela mishum dichsiv ki mimenu tzaychal v'oisay leisichras. It says you shouldn't don't cut it down. Uksiv oisay tashkas v'karata. And then conversely, it says you should cut it down. So what does it mean? Leisichras over karata. Okay, it's not im Talmud Chacham Hagen who, if he's a proper Talmud Chacham, and again, that's a person who's not using Torah as we said, lekanter, right? Then mimena toichal. Then you should go ahead and eat from him. That's a person that you can gain from. And that person you shouldn't cut down. However, if he's not a Talmud Chacham Hagen, is the Torah is for different ulterior reasons which are not good, then oisay tashkos v'karata. That person you should destroy and cut down. So that's the agadata that Rabbi Zera told Rabbi Yirmiyah. Amar Rabbi Chama Beribi, Rabbi Chanina, my dechsiv barzel yachad. It's barzel yachad, iron and iron together. Loy malacha mar barzel zeh echad mechader es chaveroi. Just like barzel, one piece of iron sharpens the other one, right? Yeah, I still remember my father in the store with the meat cleaver having a long piece of metal and a meat cleaver. You'd go on both sides and it would sharpen it up. So just like metal sharpens metal, so two Talmidei Chachamim, they can sharpen each other in halacha by going ahead. They're pilpul between each other. And Amar Rabbi Baruch Chana, Lama Nimshal Torah Keish. Shenemar Halaykoi Devarai Keishnum Hashem Lemlecha Ma'esh in a Doilik Yechidi after returning to Yechidi. So one second before we go on, I want to go. Well, let's continue. So we have Aish. If you have Aish, I guess to kindle Aish, you take a small one and you put a larger one and you light it up together. So to Talmidei Chachamim the same way. If you have two Talmidei Chachamim, they light each other up. After the Torah, Amos Kaimim B'Yechidi. So to the Torah will not go ahead and be sustained by a person who learns alone. Behind the Dom Rabbi Yosef V'Chanina, Ma'idich Siv Cherev Al Habadim V'Na'alnu. Na'alnu is Na'alnu become foolish. Cherev Al Saneim Shal Talmidei Chachamim, a sword on the Saneim of Talmidei Chachamim Shal Oiskim Bad B'Bad B'Torah. They Oisik Bad B'Bad B'Torah alone. Well, not only that, El Shalom Metapshin. If they the Oisik alone, they'll become tipshin, they'll become fools. Shnemar V'Nei Alu is a lesson of foolishness. Well, Yoid El Shechaitim, they call Chaitim Ksiv Hachav V'Nei Alnu Ksiv Chasam Hashem Alnu B'Asher Chatanu. So they're called what? The sinners. By the same Mehacha, another pasuk. They Alnu sorry Soyan. The Hitu as Misrayim. Okay, so this Gemara I had a lot of trouble with because it's mashma. You have to learn b'chavrusa. If you don't learn b'chavrusa, it's not possible. We've had other Gemaras that a person sits alone at night learning Torah. There's shchinas with him. You have all kinds of Gemaras that speak about that. So it's very hard to reconcile the two. So there's two drachim over here. One I heard from Shuli Bornstein, one I'll share with you. Shuli Bornstein brought in a Sefer Yavitz. The Yavitz says that it's not for everybody. Not everyone learns better with a chavrusa. Some people learn alone. I mean, I probably do learn better with chavrusa, but I have to, frankly, most of my life I've learned myself. Them's the apples. Most of my life I've learned myself. Would I do better? Possibly, but most of the life I learned myself. So I learned this Gemara, all of a sudden I chap a Shrek. What am I supposed to do? Says the Yavitz, no, it's not for everybody. Everyone's different. In addition, he says that in Eretz Yisrael, if a person learns in Eretz Yisrael, Avira the Ara Machkim, or in Eretz Yisrael, you could learn alone. So that's the Yavitz way of dealing with this discrepancy of the Shechina being alone with one person and versus learning with a Chavrusa. But listen to the lashon of the Shiur Mitzvim Be'alacha. Kosa b'tshubis marim mitz, the marami mitz in Simin Memhei. It is manenu yesh harbe sfarim upirushim al shas. In our day, there's many sfarim and explanations, and therefore ein chashash zeh. You don't have the chashash of what of being called a tipish if you learn alone. The sfarim heim chaveirov. The sfarim there you what there you chavrusa. The sfarim is there chavrusa. I like this very much. It's fun. You're not going to. You learn the sefer. He goes. You're learning with another person. He's giving you his opinion. You're all listening to his opinion, and you disagree with it. Well, I know Art Scroll is a little different, but Art Scroll is an aid rabbi. It doesn't say it's a chava. It's an aid, A-I-D. So right, very geschmack. Upirish Hamishnu uknelecha chover. When it says, listen to the Pirish. The Marami Mit says, you know what the explanation of Ukanelecha chaver is? By buying svarim. The svarim is yichava. Svarim is yichava. Ukeize kosa b'shut shus Yaakov. So this resonated with me very much to reconcile this difficulty. You learn with sefer, you're not alone. Bishlam, you're learning alone, but you're learning with a sefer, so a male is not alone. I was thinking, he says the svarim perushim. What about they didn't have Torah shebechsav? What did they have? They were learning. In other words, you needed a conversation. Since everything was Baal Peh, to sit alone Baal Peh is very difficult. But we have Gemaras in front of us. In other words, Marami Mitz is saying Svarim. But forget about Svarim, right? Svarim say that you have Svarim in front of you. So you have Svarim in front of you. So you have a Chumash in front of you. You're reading from it. So Mamela, that would be similar. So I think that would be a very good way to go ahead about it and compare the two. So now we have
Leif, I've seen you many occasions take your Gemara, hold it and kiss it and said, this is my chavrusa. This is my
I wake up in the morning. Guys, I wake up in the morning and this Gemara that my father-in-law bought me 45 years ago. I wake up and I go like this. And I realized I probably spend more time with this than with anyone else in the world. It resonates. It does. Listen. It's Ashreinu, guys. Ashreinu that we have this gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us. It elevates us above everything. As we're going to see, it's just Barasi Yitzhara, Barasi Torah Tavlin. The only way to possibly correct the flaws of an individual is through Torah. When a person learns Torah, it has such an amazing effect. We're going to see it's like Aish, it's like Mayim. It has so many different capacities to go ahead. And no matter what's wrong with you, it's going to go ahead and correct it. It's not a stira. Aish and Mayim, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. But I'm saying that it has such a, it's Ashreinu, here you are, Erev Shabbos, Baruch Hashem, wherever you're sitting, you're learning, it's Ashreinu, guys. Just thank Hashem for the moments we spend together speaking. It's to say it's elevating would be an understatement. It's just the Sam HaChayim. It's mamish the elixir of life. It's mamish. I understand this Gemara so totally. How it's a Sam. If you would have said this Gemara when you're a kid, you wouldn't make a difference. But now, as you live through life and you know what's important in life, and you see what's important in life, the moments of the day you spend learning, it's mamish Sam HaChayim. It gives a person chiyus. If a person's learning, he can't be in a bad mood, no matter what's bothering him. If he's learning, it just elevates him. It elevates his family. It elevates everybody. It's an amazing thing. It's a Sama Chaim. It's what Pans de Leon was looking for, right? He was looking for the fountain of youth. This is Mamish gives you chiyas. Not youth. Youth is not important. Chaim is important. The fountain of youth to a goy is the opposite. The goy wants to always be young. Why? Because he's old into Olam Hazeh. So I want to be young to enjoy Olam Hazeh. We want to live. We want to live. The most alive person I know is Rav Chaim Kanievsky, and trust me, he's not young, but he's the most alive person. And that's Pshat, and that's the Hezbollah.
I think also by what you said by Chavrusa, we always use the expression, Rashi says, the Rambam says, they're there, they're alive. When you're talking to them, when you're learning the Sefer, they're talking to you, right?
I think it's so true. My Rebbe, Zatzal, I've mentioned this quite a few times. One day in Sher, he had the Shulchan Aruch open, and it was open to the Shach. The Shach, the Sifsei Chachamim, wrote a pirish on Shulchan Aruch. And he said to me, the Shach is Nifta Gevarin as given 38 Jahre alt. He was 38 years old. We heard 41. I'm telling you, my Rosh Hashiva said, my Rosh Hashiva was from Vilna, and the Shach was from Vilna. The Shiva said he was 38 years old. And Rosh Hashiva said in Yiddish, the Shach is tight, the Shach leapt. Because the Shach is dead, Shach's alive. The Shach's alive. That's what Kenny's saying. They talk to each other, they talk to us. There you are. They're chavrusis and they lie. It's Ashreinu. Says the Gemara Vaita. Amar of Nachma Yitzhak. Lama nimshal divrei Torah ke'etz. So first of all, we had to compare it to fire. Now we're comparing it to eitz. Shenemar eitz chayim ilamachas ba. It's an eitz chayim to those who machzon it. Loi melacha ma eitz kotin madlik es agadol. Just like a small fire lights the. If you want to light a campfire, right? You take the small slivers, you light them up, and you put it in. Av talmidei chachamim ketanim mechadin es agadolim. It's the young talmidei chachamim by their questions that are mechadei, they make sharp the gadol. Behind the dam Rabbi Chanina, harbe lamarti meraboisai. Much Torah I've learned from my Rabbeim, mechaver yosim meraboisai, right? And more my chaver more my talmidim, talmidim yosim mikulam. But for my talmidim, you get the most. Okay. I just have to excuse myself. Rabbi Chanina bar Papa Rami. Rabbi Chanina bar Papa, he asked the following stira. Ksiv, likras soma heisayu mayim. If you're thirsty, go bring him water. Mashma, you'll bring him the water. Ksiv, hoi, wo, kol sameh, l'chula mayim. Anyone who's thirsty for Torah, l'chula mayim, should go to the Torah. So question, are you going to the Torah or what? Or you bring him to him or he's coming to you? So im Talmud Hagen who likras soma. If it's a Talmud Hagen, you go to him. If not, then he should come to you. So you see that you go out to teach, go out to take the mayan chutz outside. Mashma, keep it to yourself. Do you go out, right? Do you go out or do you keep it to yourself? Says the Gemara. So now the question is that do you keep it to yourself or do you go out and teach it? So im Talmud Hagen who yefutzim anesecha chutza, you go bring it to him. You take it. You do teach it. If he's not a Talmud Hagen, let it be by you. Again, the same thing. Only proper talmidim, proper rabbeim. Again, Torah has to be in the proper kli. V'Amar Rabbi Chanina bar Idi. We have Rabbi Chanina bar Chama, Rabbi Chanina bar Papa, Rabbi Chanina bar Idi. Now it's for the third thing. We have Eish, we have Eitz, and we have Mayim, right? We have all these three things. So the Chsiv, Hoi kol tzomi l'chula Mayim, right? Hoi is go, right? Water is Torah, so go to the Mayim, go to the Torah. Just like Mayim leaves the higher place and goes to the lower place, after the Torah, so to Torah will only be, right, for a person who goes ahead and makes himself what? Shuffle. For a person who makes himself small. Okay? So a beautiful, beautiful Bnei Yisrael, guys. Listen to this. Bnei Yisrael was a very famous Hasidic sefer. As you see, lately I've been going over to the other side a bit. Right? Me and Yankel Zucker is coming along with me. Right? So listen, he says, Namal Nimshla Torah L'mayim, Ubir B'Sefer Bnei Yisrael, Sheyesh Beis Minei Limud. There's two types of limudim. Charifis, a sharpness, right? A sharpness, ubekiyas, and more like, knowledgeable all over. As the Gemara says in Huriyas about Rabbi Yosef was a Sinai, and then that he was a Baki. And it says about Rabba that he was an Oikaharim, right? So there are different types. The Hainu Charifis. So Rabbi Yosef was the Baki, and Rabba was the Lamdin, the Charif. And Bekiyas comes through Asmada. When you're masmid, you have to learn up a lot of material. And that's similar to Mayim. That has to be all the time. You need Mayim all the time in every place. So too, to be the Baki, you need Asmada, B'chol Makom B'chol Zman. Right? Who's a Talmud Chacham? Anyone that you can ask halacha in any place, and he can answer you. So just like Torah is any place, so Mayim is any place, Torah is any place. That's the Baki. V'charifis doimil le'esh. But sharpness, a sharfkeit, right? A Yiddish term, a sharfkeit, a charifis, right? That's similar to fire because it's burning inside of you. And therefore, what? You see that the Mayim puts out the Eish because we go ahead and say that the pilpul gadol of the charif can be put to ease by the Baki who knows from another source, how to bring it in. It's that you're saying this, guess what? There's another place. Like I once told Rosh Shiva, I told him Pshat, and he said, Zeig Shmak, very, very good. And then he opened up a Shas behind him. He goes, aber was tut this mit der Toisvis? And he showed me some Toisvis somewhere, I don't know where, that was totally opposite of what I said. So, so it's nice to say something, but the bottom line is, he just uprooted totally what I said. So the Bnei Yisrael compare Mayim and Eish. Shirley Bronstein brought in a beautiful, beautiful Vilna going from Mishlei in Perek Chafei. He said that you look at a person. A person is different components. Everyone's a different way, and different people have different taivas and different nisyonos and different. So if Barasi Torah, Barasi Yetzirah can be for different reasons. You could be a Balgaiva, you could be a Kaisen, an angry person. There are many reasons that you could be a Baal Taiva. Who knows what it is? Torah has to be able to go ahead and answer and affect each component that you might have. So if you're a Kaisen, it's compared to what? It's compared to Mayim, to put it out. If you're a Balgaiva, it's compared to a Barzel, will cut you down. So each aspect of Torah that we just discussed, it's Eish, it's Mayim, it's Eitz, right? Is all to go ahead and be the medicine that we call Tavlin of Torah to break the Yetzirah, because the Yetzirah comes for so many different facets. And then Mela, by all these different things, we're able to break it. It's a beautiful idea. It's a classic pack daf, guys. But it explains to you why, the Talmud Torah connected Kulam is, it's not the knowledge of Torah, it's the limud Torah, it's the idea of Torah, it's clinging to Torah, it's touching Kaviyachal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a piece of himself in Torah. We spoke at a Torah Chaim many years ago that how come there's no parsha of never happened a Ben Saru Mora, never happened an Aaron Idachas. So if it never happened, why is it given? And the Torah Chaim beautifully said is because there's two aspects of Torah. There's the Asir of Torah, there's the mitzvahs of Torah, and then there's the essence of Torah. Kaviyachol, the Shechina of Hashem, there's a part of Hashem. So in Echanami, there's there's certain things in the Torah which are there, but they were never made to go ahead and perform. And I don't know exactly how the Shechina is in modern Erni Dachas and how exactly it's in Ben Sora Moira, but it would explain that, and it gives us that significant difference. We spoke out Meshech Chachma at the end of Parshas Vayera, Ayin Sham, if you're interested. Okay, weiter. And so it says, just like Torah goes from a high place to water goes from a high place to a low place. After a person makes himself an anav. Anivus is the kli of Torah. Anivus is the kli of Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu va'ish Moshe anav ma'oid mikol Moshe b'nei Adama. Gemara guys in the Dorim. Ena Kodesh Baruch Hu Masher Shechinasai Al Misho Giba Chacham Masher V'anav. Gevura and Chachma and Ashiris have nothing to do with his Bechira. And we answered up a beautiful Rechayim Lashana that it's not Stamin Anav that is Roy Lashar Shechina. It's somebody who has a reason to be a Balgaiva. He's smart, he's strong, he's rich. And that person, but you see that person, if it has that nivus, that will go ahead and I know I'm going very fast and throwing out a lot of ideas. Listen to the tape again, guys. We're saying a lot of stuff today, right? If you just go ahead, anivus is such a crucial part of everything. It goes ahead. But the ultimate honor is the Rabbi Shalom. After all, what does he gain from us? Why is Torah compared to these three liquids? Anyone is thirsty, called samei l'chulamayim. Anyone's thirsty should go ahead and go to water. Tichsiv l'chu shivru v'echlu v'lechu shivru b'lei kesef b'lei mechir yayim v'chalav. So we know that mayim is compared. Torah is compared to mayim because it says hay called samei l'chulamayim. We know it's compared to yayim v'chalav because the pasuk says l'chu shivru v'echlu v'lechu shivru b'lei kesef b'lei mechir yayim v'chalav. So it's speaking about Torah, and it says Yayim v'chalav. Loy melacha, mashleish mashkem alolo. Just to these three things, emes kaimim ella b'pacha shebekelim. All these they only exist in earthenware kli. After a Torah, emes kaimim ella mishadai tishvala. Just like these three liquids only exist in earthenware cheap kalim, so too Torah only in the person who makes himself not cheap but makes himself low. Kida Amile Barte, the case of Yeshua and Chananya, a very, very well-known story. How's it possible? It seems that Yeshua ben Chananya was not the most attractive of men. And she said, how's it possible that a chachma for such a glory, beautiful Torah should be within a kli like yourself? So Amalei, so Rabbi Yeshua said to her, Avich Rami Chamra b'mani de Pachra. Your father puts his extensive wine collection in Mane, in Kalim, the Pachra of Cheres. Amalei, El b'Mane, near me, what else? So Amalei told her, listen, us in the Chashivusoi, since you are so chashiv, Ramu b'Mane dahava v'kaspa. Go ahead, take the wine and put it in a silver kli and a gold kli. Amalei lavua, she went and told her father, and the Caesar said, that's a great idea, I'm the Caesar. So Ramil lechamra b'manei did have a kaspa, and consequently he went. He put the wine and this wine in gold and silver kalim, v'takif, and sure behold, it became vinegar. It got ruined. Also, they came and they said to him, "Amalo lebarte man amalacha." So he said, "What did he say to you?" Hachi amalei. This is what he said. So the Caesar came to his daughter, said, "What happened?" She said, "Well, it wasn't my fault. It was Rabbi Shimon Chananya's fault." So Amalei B'Shum Chananya Karu. They summoned Rabbi Shimon Chananya. So Amalei said, "My amis la hachi." Why did you say? The Caesar said to Rabbi Chanina, "Why did you tell my daughter this?" So Amalei ki hechi da Amalei Amallah. Just like she told me, right? I told her. Just like she told me, I told her. Why did she tell me? She told me that how could it be something that's so special to be in something that's so unattractive? So too, look, here you have wine. It's very special and something that's unattractive. Says the more of the Ikar Shapiri de Gemiri. We had some beautiful people in Klal Yisrael, guys. beautiful people in Klal Yisrael who were Bnei Torah. I mean, the Gemara describes the beauty of Rabbi Vahu, that the beauty of Rabbi Vahu ends up being like the beauty of Adam Arishain. We have the Gemara in Brachas, the beauty of Rabbi Yochanan, Gemara in Bava Metzia, the beauty of Rabbi Yochanan, right? It was so beautiful. Rabbi Shlacher said, how could it be? And I'll give whole Maisa in Slekers a Poilim that the Rabbi Shlakish became a Baal Tshuva as a result. So l'chayr, you see that it's possible to be very, very handsome and also. So listen to this. Says the Gemara, Sanu, if they were less attractive, then Tfei Havi Gemiri, they learn more. Look at Rashi. There's a Rashi here that's Peladik. Tfei Havi Gemiri, she efshel l'na, it's not possible l'na lahashbel daitoi ubal shikha. It's not possible for a person who's very handsome, lahashbel daitoi, to go ahead and have anivus ubal shikha, and they'll come to forget it. Unbelievable. My son simply gave a shmooze once, and he was speaking about the hedonistic tendencies of this generation, how everyone wants to be, the girls want a guy who's hot, the guys who want a girl that's hot, everything's hot, everything wants attractiveness and everything. He goes, if a boy is hot, how good is it for his Torah? What good is it? He gave a whole shmooze on it. It's very interesting. It's Mefurish Gemara. Davar Acher. So we have one pshat in the three mashkin, that they stay in a cheap kli of cheres, and that's why Torah is nimshlit, because Torah has to be in a person who cheapens himself with an anav. Davar Acher, another comparison of Torah to these three mashkanos. Davar Acher, mashloish mashkam alolu ein v'solum ela b'hesach hadas. If you have, there's a psul of hesach hadas that you have to think about it. The Indian tumah, that it shouldn't become tamei. Rashi says hesach hadas over here. You have to watch it that it doesn't spill. After be Torah in nishtachim ela b'hesach hadas. You have to think about Torah all the time. If you don't go ahead and chazer all the time, you forget. You have to chazer Torah all the time. Amar Rav Chama Rav Chanina. Okay, now we get back to wine. Again, a bunch of psukim. I'm not going to touch the psukim. I'm just going to go ahead and say how they compare to the drushes. Because to touch the psukim, I just have to go to art school and read art school to you, and you could do that yourself. It's great, like the day the Shemayim was created. Shnemar harifu Shemayim. Shemayim harifu is lashon of rain, shower down. Mimal ushchachim yislu tzedek tiftach eretz. The earth will open up. The Yifru Yesha Tzedakah. So Lashon Mad, and Yifru Yesha Tzedakah, Tatzmiach Yachad, Ani Hashem Barasiv. Hashem who created it. Barasim Leinema, it doesn't say he created them, the Shemayim, El Barasiv, he created it, the world. So you have the tushtel between the day of Shemayim and what, and the creation of the world. Amar Abayshia, Gadol Yom Geshamim, great is the day of rain. Shafili Yeshua Pera Varafabai. Even Yeshua will grow as a result of rain. Shnemar, the same passage we just said, Tiftach Eretz v'yifru yeshad lashon of v'yifru. Amrav Tanchun bar Chaniloi, Ein Agashamim Yordim, Elem Kein Nimchlu Avanaseim Shal Yisrael. Rain doesn't come only if what? It's forgiven the sins of Klal Yisrael. Where do you see that Shnemar? But Sisi Hashem Artzacha, Hashem your Meratza, you find acceptable your land. Shavta Shvis Yaakov. Nasasa oven anecha. Why? Because you forgave the oven of your people. The kisisa kol chatasam sela. You covered up all the chatayim. So Amalei Ziri made the Havila Ravoy said Ziri from the town of the Havasla Ravina. Aslam mechacham asnino. You have from that pasuk that rain is a result of being forgiven. Ano mechacham asnino. We bring it from here. It says V'ata tishma shemayim esalachta l'chatas. And now the Shemayim should hear and should get forgiven. So the Shir Mitzvah Melachos is a beautiful deher, guys. Nira, the Mahai Taima, why does it say that Geshamim falls only after Chayim are forgiven? Nira, the Mahai Taima, La'acha Yom Kippur, Chagas Sukkos, Shenidim Bayalamayim. After Yom Kippur, Geshmak, after Yom Kippur, we're forgiven, Amachelis are forgiven, then we daven for rain. Then we need it on the rain. Because the Baruch Hu wants to bring rain, but rain has to be after his mechila. So Mamela, when does the need in the rain of Mayim come? On Sukkot, which is the yontif, of course, that follows Yom Kippur, after we have mechila. Very, very geschmack. Amrav Tanchum Bereder of Chia Ish Kfar Akoy. Ena Gesham Netzarim. Rain is not Netzar. It's not held back. Ella in Cain is Chayav V'Sanem Shel Yisrael Kloya. Only if Chal Yisrael, that's a Lashon Sagina, is Chayav destruction. Shenemar, it says Tzia Gam Choim Yigzlu Meimei Sheleg. So Tzia is the dry season. Choim is the hot season. Yigzlu Meimei Sheleg. They steal the snowy season. Right? Sholu Chatu. Why? Because Shaol, going down to Shaol, which is a euphemism Gehenim, Chatu. So you see that that the water won't be there because of the Chet. So Amalei Iri Midahavoy Ravina. Asam Mehacham Asinula, you learned it from there. Anna Mehacham Asinula. We bring the same concept from a different pasuk, and you don't have to go to the Navi. You see it in the Torah itself. But Shemayim, Lo Yematar, what does it say? Vavaratem Mehera. You'll go ahead, right, and you'll be quickly destroyed. Amrav Krista. Eina Gesham Netzarim. So maybe, guys, this is the source for climate change, right? All the chatoyim that's happening, right? You have the source of climate change. Explains things. Amrav Chista Eina Gesham Netzarim El B'Shvil Bittul Chumas Maisvis. When the Mevatel Chumas Maisvis, that's why rain doesn't come. Shnemar. It says Tzia Gam Choim Yigslu Meimei Sheleg. My mashma. How does it this two shtel whatsoever to Chumas Maisa? Tanad Rabbi Yishmael says in Yeshiva Rabbi Yishmael. B'shvil devarim shetzi visi eschem. That's the lashon of tzia. For the things that I commanded you, be moisachama, to do with moisachama, which is to separate chumas and maisvis. V'lo yasisam, when you didn't do it. You goes. The end of the pasuk says, "You goes. Let me can memi shelig moisach shamim." You'll be missing the snow, the water. Amr Shem ben Pasi ina gesham netzarim el b'shvil misapi lashon hara. So you different reasons. Different reasons now. We can have why rain stops. Chatoyim and now lashon hara. Shnemar ruach safain, a north wind to choylel geshem upanim nizamim lashon saser. It'll go ahead and it'll be mechalel geshem lo yachal devarei. You won't have it. Amrav Sala Amrav Chanin Amrav have Hamnuna ena gesham netzarim elishvil azay panim. People who have azas panim chutzpah, that stops the rain. Shnemar v'yimonu revivim, and it's held back the showers u'malkush loy hoya. There was no malkush. Why? Because you had the far of Isha Zaina. The Gemara always parallels the Metzach, the Isha Zaina, the chutzpah of a Zaina, that she's a Zaina, the Metzach of a Zaina, that you speak about Asas Panim. So therefore over here we see that the Mayim is held back because of Asas Panim. So you have so many different reasons, either because of Lashon Hara, Asas Panim, Mevatel Chumas Maisa, because of the same Shal Yisrael, all many reasons that it's held back the Torah. V'amar of Salab, Amar of Hamnuna, Kol Adam, Sheyesh Le Asas Panim. Any person. Now we're going to digress and discuss this. Asas Panim. Enough of digression. We just digress, but that's Mesechta. That's why we're all so happy. Kol Adam Sheyesh Le Asas Panim. Any person who has an Asas Panim, Seif Nichshal Ba'Aveira. It's not possible him to be saved from Aveira. Shnemar U'Metzach Isha Zayna Hayalacha. That Rav Nachman Amar b'yedua shenimchal ba'aveira. You can know that right. He's nichshal ba'aveira. Shneimar hoyelacha. If Nachman says not that he will do an aveira, but he did an aveira. It says u'meitzach yishazayna hoyelacha. Hoyelacha means it was. V'lo nema yelacha will be. That's a double pasha, guys. A person who is an asas panim, a person who's a mechutzif, he only cares about himself. It's like the ultimate Baal Gaiva. He doesn't care about the Rebbein Shalom. So it's not possible for him to go ahead and not do Averis. There's no Yerush Shamayim there. Where's the Yerush Shamayim? A person who's an Azaz Panim, you see these people, the people who they're so self-serving, they're so narcissistic, their whole lives are revolved on themselves. So how is it possible for them to go ahead and not sin? To not sin, it takes Yerush Shamayim. They don't have Yerush Shamayim. They have the year of their own cover. They only care about themselves. Amar Rabbi Varhuna, Kol Adam Sheyesh Le Azas Panim. Any person who has Azas Panim, Mutal Graisi Rasha. Obviously, guys, he has no. As we're saying, based upon my interpretation, he has no Yerush Shamayim, he has no Torah, right? So of course you can call him a Rasha. He's going to do Averis, right? Adarabah, not he's going to do Averis. He did Averis. Person does Averis, you can call him a Rasha. Shenemar, the pasuk says, Hey is Ish Rashami Panav. A person Hey is Panav. You can call him Rasha to his face. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar, Mutal is nice, and not only can call him Rasha, you could hate him. The V'hafla Riyacha Kamoicha, Hey says this guy's not Riyacha, guys. You hear? Taste this, he's not reyacha. The haftal reyacha kamoicha. You're able to hate him. He's not reyacha. He's not reyacha. Maybe you could say a little bit more. Very geschmack. In a second. Shnemar, the ois pon of Yeshuneh, the ois pon of Yeshuneh, he'll be changed. Al tikri Yeshuneh, that'll be changed. Ella Yisane, he'll be hated. It's very geschmack. Anu by Shanim Rachmanim v'goyim l'chasanim. Guys, the aspects, the midas of Klal Yisrael, anu by Shanim Rachmanim, right? Anu by Shanim Rachmanim, the Heimena, they don't. Mimela, if a guy is an Asponim, he's not part of Klal Yisrael. He's not part of Klal Yisrael. What is he? He's not Reyacha. You can hate him. You can call him no din of loving him. You can call him a Rasha. Why? Why is that? Because he's not going ahead and illustrating the midas of a Jew. Anu by Shanim Rachmanim, v'goyim lechasadim, v'heimenam. The Asponim is none of those. He's none of those. So Mimela, he's making a statement in Yiddish. Ich bin nicht kein Yid. I'm not a Yid. I'm not a Jew. That perhaps would go ahead and put this all together. Why you're able to call him a Rasha, why you hate him. He's none of that. He doesn't illustrate what it takes to be a Jew. I just thought of that now. I don't know if it's true, but it fits in. Amrab Katina says, okay, back to rain. Ella b'shvil bittul Torah. So many reasons, but here's another one. Bittul Torah. Shnemar, it says, Ba'al tzaltayim yimach hamikara. When a person al tzaltayim is lazy but not learning Torah, yimach hamikara, the ceiling yimach, it goes ahead and melts away. Says the Gemara, b'shvil atzla shahayu b'Yisrael shlei aske b'Torah naseh soinish shel Kadosh Baruch Hu mach. Then what? The soinish shel Kadosh Baruch Hu becomes what? It becomes mach. It becomes like without rain. It becomes poor. Ve'imach ela ani shenemar. It says v'imachum me'erkecha. Then regarding the union of Geula, we goiled him. Ve'imikra ela Kadosh Baruch Hu. Mekarza Kadosh Baruch Hu. So he's machu from Kadosh Baruch Hu. He's an ani from Hashem. Shenemar. V'hamakara b'mayim al Yosef. His upper ceiling is water. Rabbi Yosef Abba Mehacha. Same concept from here. Again, notice no one argues on this. Everyone agrees with this. They're bringing in different sources, but everyone agrees with the concept. It's fascinating. Rabbi Yosef Abba Mehacha. V'ata loy ro'or. They shouldn't see light. Bahir hu b'shchakim. The skies are bahir. They have clouds, patches of clouds. The ruach avram v'tharem. A wind comes and goes and what? And blows it away. Torah, so it's blowing it away. It means it's Torah. It says kiner mitzvah v'Torah. It's bohar. Who's bohu shchakim? What does that mean? Rabbi Yishmael, feel b'shosh rakia nasa boharim boharim. Even at a time when the rakia becomes patches of many clouds, laharid talumata ruach over v'tarem. The wind comes and blows away the clouds, so there won't be what? There won't be rain. Amravami ena geshamim netzarim ela ba'avin gazel. When people sin, that causes that what there shouldn't be rain. Shnemar al kapayim kisaor. With clouds he hides the rain. Oven kapayim kisaor. With the oven that a person does with his hands, they go ahead and cover the rain. Vein kapayim el chamas, it means to go ahead and steal. Shnemar or min hachamas asher b'chapayim, from the chamas which is in your palms. Vein or matar, or refers to matar. Shnemar, as it says, yopitz anan oiroi, he scatters the rain clouds. Takante, if you want rain, what's the takana with all these reasons for everything? What's the takana? Yarbe b'tfila. You should go ahead and be marbe b'tfila, which is going to be the main part of this mesechta, tanesim and davening to Kadosh Baruch Hu to bring rain. Shenemar, it says what? Vayitzav Allah b'mafkia. Kadosh Baruch Hu commands the rain because of mafkia. What's mafkia? V'impekia tefila. Mafkia is a person of prayer. Someone davens to him. Shenemar, it says va'ata al tispalol ba'adam mazeh ve'al tifka. Don't go ahead and daven. These people are tifkabi. Do not go ahead and entreat me. Do not go ahead and ask for me. Okay, we'll stop over here. Thank you everyone for listening.